Murphy's mother had been gone for 20 years. Yet that afternoon, she had lunch waiting for him, carefully prepared, just like she used to do. The sight of her familiar figure moving around the house froze him in his tracks. 2 decades of aching longing surged all at once, and for a moment, he could hardly believe his eyes. Slowly, as if afraid she'd vanish if he moved too fast, he stepped forward and wrapped his arms tightly around the mother he had missed for so long. Back then, she always worked late into the night, taking double shifts just to make ends meet. In the end, the burden took her life. Now that she was somehow standing before him again, he silently vowed not to let fate repeat itself. He tried to convince her to stay home and rest, but her eyes were just as resolute as they were all those years ago. As he watched her walk away, a wave of helpless sorrow washed over him. He knew some things couldn't be undone, but perhaps he thought he could still choose a new direction for his own life. So, from the stack of acceptance letters from prestigious universities, he chose the state college closest to home. He made a promise to himself. He would carry the weight of this family on his shoulders and protect them, no matter what. Murphy was born in Coldwater, Ohio. Raised by a single mother, he grew up under her constant care and quiet strength. In high school, he was the star quarterback. People called him Mr. Football with pride. But just when everything seemed to be falling into place, life dealt him a brutal blow. During a key interstate championship game, with just 3.5 seconds left on the clock, Murphy powered through the defense and scored a stunning touchdown, clinching the title for Coldwater High. The stadium erupted in celebration, but as the crowd cheered, Murphy collapsed hard onto the field and didn't get back up. From that moment on, the glory was gone. The fame faded. He wasn't a football star anymore, just a man nursing his pain with cheap whiskey and expensive painkillers. Still, life didn't fully break him. Before long, he met someone who was willing to stay with him through the highs and lows, a kind-hearted woman who became his wife. They had 2 lovely daughters, and they became his reason to keep going. But Murphy knew that love alone wasn't enough. He wanted to give his family a better life, one they truly deserved. So he made a bold move. He borrowed over $1 million from the bank and planted soybeans across 500 acres of farmland. It was risky, but he hoped it might just be his chance to start over. Fate, however, wasn't finished with him. Just as the soybeans were nearing harvest, an unexpected cold snap swept through the town in the early hours of the morning. Murphy stood in the fields, staring at rows of still green crops, and his face went pale. If he didn't harvest them in time, the frost would kill every last plant. All the money he'd invested would vanish into the frozen soil. Desperate, he scrambled to find help, frantically calling every friend he could think of, trying to get his hands on a working combine harvester. As he began to lose hope, one of his friends came through. After searching all over town, he finally found a machine. Murphy jumped into the driver's seat without a second thought. No matter what it took, he had to get those beans harvested before the frost finished them off. But fate struck again. As the harvester rumbled through the field, it suddenly jolted violently. Murphy leapt out to check, and what he saw made his heart sink. A thick piece of wood had lodged itself deep in the mechanism. The gears were broken. The machine was useless. Rage and despair surged through him like a tidal wave. It felt like the universe itself was against him. With one last flicker of hope, he drove to the only machine repair shop in town, only to find the lights off and the doors locked. To make things worse, a freezing rain began to fall. The cold seeped into his bones, matching the numbness growing in his chest. His dreams were about to die in that frozen field. He was drowning in debt. If the bank took their house, his wife and daughters would have nowhere to go. He looked at the insurance papers lying on the passenger seat. If he was gone, maybe at least they'd have something left. Murphy drove into the woods, ready to end it all. He pulled out an old towel, trembling as he stuffed it into the exhaust pipe. Then he started the engine and floored the gas pedal. Thick exhaust began to fill the cabin. As his mind started to fade, a faint thumping sound came from outside the car, pulled him back from the edge. With great effort, he pushed the door open, and what he saw left him stunned. His leg, the one that had failed him for so many years, moved. Not just moved, it was strong. It worked. Somehow, it had healed.